Hi there, I'm Kevin from Rebuilders. If you're watching this, you might be experiencing one of the most challenging aspects of divorce, fear of what comes next. Today, we're exploring the fear exercise from our Divorce Recovery Workbook. And this is a powerful tool that's helped many people transform paralyzing anxiety into actionable awareness. So, whether you're lying awake at night worried about finances, your children's well being, or if you've ever felt like insecure or feeling like will I ever feel secure again? This exercise provides a framework to process those fears and start moving forward with confidence. The fear exercise addresses something few people talk about during divorce: how to handle the constant sense of threat that can hijack your mind and body. So let me walk you through how this works and why it's so effective. The fear exercise in here is so cool, and it's 3 pages long. So first, I'm just going to talk about fear itself. So the idea, there's this acronym that gets used all the time, which is fear is false expectations appearing real. There's some other ones out there as well, but the idea is this: is like it's our brain imagining things typically, right? Unless you've got a bear attacking or you truly are under threat. And some people are under threat from their ex. There is a lot of things that we fear because we just don't know. So the idea of this fear exercise is actually looking at this. So the first thing is that we look at there's some prompts in here to be thinking about how this all works. Now, this actually comes from Tim Ferriss, who created this. There's a TED Talk on this, but it's about fear setting instead of goal setting. So we did this so much, and people were like, "This is great." And so what we did is we took it from the video and turned it into specifically for divorce some ways that you can do this. So there's also some things in here that we talk about around steps you can do to feel good when you're affected by fear. So think about these things of maybe some of these things will help you when you're feeling fearful. Sometimes just listening to music that motivates you, like get yourself out of thinking about things and thinking like, I can do this. Call a friend and tell them how afraid you are. Write a phrase or a quote on a piece of paper that inspires you. Another one that I really like is read Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. Unbelievable book, and you only need to read the first half and it will change your life. It is such a powerful book. There is the Tim Ferriss TED Talk on fear. You can find that. And I'll put a link below that. And then there is practice mindful breathing techniques such as deep breaths, counting to 10, or picturing a calming environment. Any of these things can help. The idea of this is that Tim Ferriss came up with this exercise around: first, write down your worst case scenarios. What are those things that you keep thinking about that create a lot of fear for you? And then the second thing is thinking about what can you do to prevent each of these scenarios from happening, even a little bit. So what are the things that can actually, when you start processing these fears of what can I do to solve this? So some people, let's say financial, start thinking about subscriptions. What are the things, those little things that are eating away at my finances that I can control? And then the last thing is repair. If the worst case were to happen with one of these fears, when you look at a specific fear, what's the worst case that could happen? And if it does happen, then what would I do? So sometimes it's about saying, yep, that could happen. All right, so what's my next step? Just thinking that through can be really helpful to say, I need to do this. I need to keep following down this. And then there's some other prompts in here around thinking about assigning these different pieces and saying, what am I going to do? How am I going to do this? What can I do? Where would I like to be in 6 months, a year, or in 3 years? Those kinds of things are helpful. And there's actually this cost. What's the cost of inaction? So if you don't do something, what might be the effects long term is another way to think about it. So anyway, that is the fear exercises, just a brief intro into what we do in the workbook. I remember working with a student who couldn't sleep for months after her divorce began. And her mind was racing with worst case scenarios, from the moment her head hit the pillow. And after working through this fear exercise, she told me she finally understood the difference between productive concern and destructive anxiety. So if you're finding this helpful so far, make sure you subscribe to more divorce recovery guidance. This fear exercise is just one of over 60 powerful tools included in the Divorce Recovery Workbook. What makes this approach different is that we don't just help you manage your fears, we teach you how to transform them into insights that can actually guide your decision-making process. The workbook takes you through emotional processing exercises like this one, but also includes practical tools for communication, boundary setting, and rebuilding your identity outside of the marriage. I hope this explanation of the fear exercise gives you a practical tool you can use right away to start addressing middle of the night worries. Remember, courage isn't about the absence of fear. It's about the ability to move forward despite it. If you found this helpful, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more recovery guidance. The complete Rebuilders Divorce Recovery Workbook is available on Amazon. I've put the link in the description below, and it contains this exercise and dozens more that work together to help you move from fear to freedom. Until next time, remember, you're not just recovering, you're rebuilding.